All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And of course, thanks for subscribing. You guys asked for it. So here I am testing out FSD Beta 12.3.6 in the rain with the full message of full self-driving may be degraded, which is what it typically would say when it's raining or poor weather conditions. Doesn't quite disable itself completely, but it does say it can be degraded. But let's see how it performs. Waiting for a good opening here. Seems to be a little stuck. I'm going to give it some accelerator to nudge it along. Taking a little bit long time here because of the tight quarters that are here. And now it goes. All right, so we got FSD 12.4 coming next week, presumably. And we're going to see what that also has to bear. Let me see if I can. It wants us to go. It's flashing us, and it goes. But let me see if I can change that, the route that we're going, just to make it a little bit different. But yeah, FSD 12.4, which should boast a 5 to 10x improvement over the current version. That should be very interesting to see. I wonder how they quantify that in terms of interventions. I guess that's what the metric they're using, but I'm interested to see what that translates to in real world usage. And then also the removal of the nag, which should also be great. Again, it's much more enjoyable when there's no nag, much more relaxing and less stress-inducing. As you see the nag come up right here. And then they say 12.5 is supposed to be a step beyond that. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Here, all clear to go. It goes. But so far, again, it's been very usable. A lot of people have been using it. A lot of people have been testing out the trial, converting from the trial to the full subscription and using it on a day-to-day basis. And these are the things that are going to increase the overall data needed to make it even better, which is great. But again, it's just in a much more usable state than it's ever been, at least in my several years of testing. And I've been here from the beginning, so I've seen it all. I've seen, autopilot beta, navigate on autopilot beta since the very, very beginning, since they started selling it. I've been testing it, so I've seen the nice evolution. So sometimes my reactions aren't as profound as a lot of people. When you guys get it, you'll start to be more shocked and amazed. But it's just, I've seen the evolution, so it's not as big of a deal. It's still a huge, huge deal, but it's just not as impactful for me in terms of my reaction as it will be for someone who's never even tested it at all, or has never even seen it, or has just come in around the FSD beta days. But still a great, great improvement, great achievement. But again, I've just been going along for the ride the whole while through. So baby steps from my perspective, but good, positive, strong baby steps. And this is probably the biggest leap in terms of baby steps that they've taken with this version 12. It's really, really incredible. Can't be understated. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know if there's like people somewhere remotely operating them, like operating drones or something like that, or what. If it truly is AI, which obviously it is, a huge breakthrough for AI. And AI across the board, everyone's coming out with their new assistants, their new voice assistants and natural language assistants, in terms of Google and the rest of the team. New versions of ChatGPT are out as well. So things are really booming in the AI space. Companies are really doubling down on the usage of AI. And we're really getting to a place where we could have some kind of real world natural language UI like a Jarvis from the Iron Man series, or Friday, or whatever you want to call it. So that could be really exciting times coming up. And again, Elon talks about having one inside of these cars, which is also great. So instead of just pressing the button, they sort of remove this voice command button, and they start to just allow you to just talk to the car naturally, and they give you responses and be conversational. So that's really good. One thing I'm noticing is that when it comes to a full stop here, it's having a little hard time knowing that, sort of inching out. It's not inching out as much as it would on the dry conditions. And that may be because of the camera coverage. in terms of the weather. I think that's one area where Elon and team haven't really figured out how to handle inclement weather conditions with these cameras. How do you clean them, especially the rear camera when it gets really mucky or rainy or wet? How do you clear them to get better vantage and view for the car to drive itself? Interested to see what solution that robotaxi is gonna yield. Okay, go after this car. It can go. Good job. Long wait there. There was a couple of openings that it could have taken. I'm not mad with it not taking it. Obviously, the people behind me are mad, but I'm not mad with that. Always be cautious. Always take the safest approach. That's the way to go for now. As it ramps up its usage and ramps up, the code and all the things that they're doing to increase its efficiency and proficiency, then it can start to take more risks and shoot the gaps that humans would typically shoot. Again, still with a margin of safety in there, but again, a larger margin of safety I'm okay with. There's a person trying to cross this crosswalk right here. You guys can't see her. I'm going to tell her not to go because there's a green light. You guys can maybe see her there. But yeah, interesting times. I also noticed that during rain like this, auto offset seems to be a little bit more timid, whereby it doesn't go that far off of the speed limit, and sometimes not the speed limit at all. If it's 30, it'll stay to 30. If it's 25, it'll stay to 25. It doesn't really stray beyond that. I think that has to do with the confidence level achieved by the cameras, right? So its ability to be able to see clearly impacts the level of confidence exudes as it tries to go X amount of miles over the speed limit in terms of the auto offset. A lot of nags this drive as well. Good job on the turn. I probably shouldn't have gone this way. Lots of traffic here. Lots of traffic. Wow. So for those asking about nighttime drives, I don't typically drive at night just because I got a lot of family stuff to do. Can't really get out at night. It drives the same as it does in the day. I think the difference maker here with version 12 is going to be the weather, whether it's raining or not, and the efficacy of the wipers. I mean, that would be the only distinction for nighttime, because obviously, for those that know, Tesla's vision-based wiper system is not the greatest at night. And if it can't properly clean the window, it can't properly clear these cameras, that impacts the confidence level exuded by FSD. But otherwise, during the nighttime when it's dry, it works just as good as it does during the day. No real discernible difference. It's just the wet or snowy or mucky or foggy or hazy or whatever the weather conditions are that may be impeding the camera's ability to see. Now, because this particular car was parked indoors and it's raining, rear camera visibility is pretty good. Had this car been sitting out and water got on the lens, it would be pretty bad. You really wouldn't be able to see out of this rear camera. So I think it would rely mostly on these repeater cameras for seeing behind it. Car sticking way out there, did a great job going around it, not freaking out, not waiting for it to go, but just going around it like the car in front of us. Really good job. I've also heard people making the mention that, FSD does the things that it does because it has a lead car in front of it. If it didn't have a lead car, it wouldn't know what to do. That's also not true. I've seen it do some really, really cool stuff with no lead cars in front of us. We've even got some videos of it, going through navigating construction zones where the lead car was so far ahead, you really couldn't tell which way it was going versus which way the car was going itself. So it kind of made his own mind up based on the situation. So I don't know that it's necessarily following the cars in front of it as context clues, because again, it could be going a different direction than the other cars. Maybe it helps it, but I think it's plenty competent whether there's a car in front of it or not. Needs lots of help with the nags. Still hard on the friction brakes. Not as smooth with the blend of regen. Still issues that are outstanding that, again, will probably be addressed with version 12.4. Hopefully we'll be amongst the early access few to get that next week. I think it's going out to employees this week. And it should be interesting to see what changes have been made to be 5 to 10 times better in terms of interventions per mile. So what things they've changed and corrected that don't require an intervention. I want to take the streets instead of doing the toll. I know I could disable toll only, but I thought there was an alternate route that was already available to me. All right, big bumps coming up here. Can't avoid those. Big potholes, here we go. There's soft edges, so I'm okay with it. Sharp turn to merge on the highway. This is also something that's going to be a part of version 12.4, the single full stack, which would be representative of where we're going to go. Ooh, close to that curve. That curve was too close. Luckily, it was down at the road level, so it wasn't a big thing. I don't know what I'm beeping at. I'm looking at the road. But yeah, so the merging of having a full stack whereby there's no more explicit highway stack. There is a basically FSD city street stack, or whatever that stack is called, and end to end. So for highway and city streets, the same thing. So now it's switched over. Auto offset is off. This is the highway stack, explicit code representative of how it should operate on the highway versus explicit code or code guidance that tells it how it should operate in city streets. And it can be a combination of code and neural nets, the combination of both, or whatever the case may be, but there's just two distinct bases in which it operates off of. So 12.4 is looking to merge those into one and just have a singular basis for operating on highway and city streets, which should yield a better experience. Now, in my opinion, highway has been really, really rock solid for a while now. Nothing really, I'm not looking to gain anything from this adjustment. I want it to be the same, and if they can make any enhancements, they can make the enhancements. Maybe the only request would be to, make it so that you don't miss exits. Sometimes it does miss exits. Other than that, I have no real request there. And as you see, as I drive on the highway, more rain kicks up, muckies up that rear camera. Nowhere to clean it, nowhere to clear it, other than physically going back there and like wiping it off. These cameras are repeater cameras because they're on an angle and because they're pointing backwards. They're good. The ones on the B pillar, because they're aligned and smooth with the glass, they basically have glass panel over them. Water rolls right off of them. So they're good, looking left and right. Same thing with the front camera, gets wiped and the water rolls right over it, so no problem. But there's no real wind hitting that rear camera, so it's just water dripping and getting stuck to the camera, and it gets mucky like that, and to the point where you as a person can't even really see out of it. And again, there's no real way to clean it. Other competitors, in terms of auto industry, they have little washers or jets that they can shoot up there to blast water to clear it. Tesla still has not implemented that, even with something as wild as a Cybertruck, which you would think would be the one thing that would require that, just because it would be going off-road. But no, nothing. Excellent job off here. Jumping back here off the highway, back onto the main local roads. City streets needs to be over there. It's over here. Still making that late decision, late staging. Hopefully that's resolved in 12.4. Needs to be in the left lane. There we go. A little indecisive, but then commits. Happy to see that. It's going to make this right turn, then a left turn. It's a double turning left turn, so it has to make sure it stays with a nice turn angle so it doesn't impede on the other car that might be turning at the exact same time. But yeah, so far so good. The only issue right now I think is the constant nag because of the message there, as well as, again, that hesitation on intersections, on when it should go or not. Again, I don't know, based on the weather, based on its ability to see, I'm not sure what it is, but a little bit more hesitancy in that regard. Great job turning. Stays in the lines. Perfect. So I would say if I didn't have to, if the nag was not here, so every time I say it, it comes up. If the nag was not here, I think my only real note about rain is that it requires a little bit more attention than dry. There are certain hesitant tendencies that the car exudes that make you need to be a little bit more aware and conscious. You can't just like relax the way you can relax when it's dry. Nothing like safety critical where it's like traction or something like that. It's more like, hey, is it going to move? Can it see? Does it have good visibility? And how hesitant is it going to be making a certain maneuver? This car turning, good job. Look at that. Saving lives, saving lives. That guy did not have the right of way. He ran the light and ran it. FSD did a good job slowing down for him and allowing him to do his wild maneuver without endangering anyone. You see many people have accidents at that intersection, so good job. Job slowing down, has to stay in the right lane, so it's putting the signal on. Should turn it off now. Good job. Right on cue. Continues nice and slow and smoothly around here. Again, nagging me all the way. But yeah, not much I can say. Not much I can say about it. It's really, really good. Not perfect, far from perfect. Don't get me wrong, lots of issues. But it's really, really good, especially from where it came from to where it is now. And just the usability of it as a driver assistance feature is really, really good. So people in the comments asking, oh, how could he sell this crap? And it's half full self, it's not full self-driving, it's half self-driving. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But also understand that this is really useful right now. Useful and usable right now in its current form. It's not a beta. It's not operating as beta. Yes, he's using people to collect data. I get it. And data is necessary for him to build these models that are necessary to train the cars to do what they need to do. That's just the world we're in right now. Everything is about data. So, yes, I get it. But at the same time, it works. If it didn't work, you could say that, but it works. And everybody who tries to refute it, you can't refute it. It works. And it's not just working for me, it's working for everybody who's using it. And yes, everybody has their locations with their own quirks and oddities that cause it to do certain things, which is fine. But for the most part, no one can deny that it actually works. It can actually drive from point A to point B, competent like a human, safer than a human in most cases, and is pretty consistent so far. Except for these potholes. Got to do something about that. And obviously the curbs. However, I have not heard any major reports of curb issues for 12.3.6. I myself have seen some close calls. Even during this video, we had some close calls, but nothing to the point where it actually hits. Because when it hits, then it's a problem. Almost at our destination. About 3 minutes left. Lots and lots and lots of nags. But yeah, it did it. We went from curbside, activated, and I didn't have to intervene other than give it some confidence. Obviously, it's doing its wavering thing. It could actually squeeze in right there and go past this turning truck, but let's take the safer course of action. But no real interventions here. A couple of accelerator presses just to give it some confidence to see what it's doing. And maybe that's me just rushing it. Maybe I could have just left it and it would have just taken a long time, and I don't want people beeping behind me. So again, it's still not conscious of the world around us in terms of the drivers and the impatient nature of drivers, but it can do its thing. Going around this car, nice and methodical. I don't mind that. Good maneuver, nice and methodical. Safe is the way to go. And now we have a gang of traffic. So I might end the video here. I don't know if there's a big oil or gas tanker or some kind of tanker here. It's kind of jammed up on this bridge. I'm going to end the video here. The car right now, at least here in the East Coast, does not really park itself. It doesn't like get into a parking lot and start finding parking spots just yet. I know that's supposed to be coming soon. And I know that they have instances of that in California where it does that. It doesn't do that here. It'll just bring you to the parking lot and then just start to drive around in circles. It won't actually find a parking spot to allow you to auto park. But overall, yeah, I think this is a really good drive in terms of confidence. I'm going to have to give it an 8.5, just because a little bit of hesitancy in terms of its ability to go when it had an opening or a window. Again, it's raining out conditions out right here. Comfort, I'm going to give it a 9. Still very comfortable. No real issue there. In terms of decision making, I'm also going to give it a 9. Didn't have to intervene, didn't have to course correct for anything. And safety, felt very safe. Obviously the pressure of me trying to get through an intersection in a gap that appeases the people around me is the only issue. But overall, I think it was rock solid. So in the rain, it's a decent rain. It's not a heavy rain. It's not the lightest rain. It's like sort of in between. And did a good job. Getting through this course today, making the right decisions, avoiding accidents and avoiding situations, and getting me from point A to point B safely. Okay. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about this video? What are you most excited about with version 12.4? I know I'm very excited about Summon, but let me know what you think about that in the comments. Until the next time, actually, wait a minute. Let me let someone else say it a little bit better than I can. Check out Cyberless video on YouTube. Kaz does some great videos on ride sharing, but one of his passengers is stealing our catchphrases. Let's take a look.
Well, have a great day, and thank you again.
Yeah, you as well. It's a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, yes. And enjoy your Tesla.
Thanks, for sure.